Hi, it's John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to another edition of Fridays with Sandy. That's Sandy Kreisberg, HBSGuru.com founder. And we have a great candidate in Mexico, Agustin, who is applying, actually has applied to Stanford, MIT, and Haas. He's on two wait lists, rejected at Stanford, but on the wait list at Berkeley, Haas, and MIT. He's got a 710 GMAT on a second try, a 3.3 in chemical engineering from University in Mexico City. He's a consultant, has been a consultant for 5 years. Now he's with the #1 consulting firm in the area of pricing. It's a German company. Before he was in operations consulting for about 3.5 years. So.
I'm impressed, John. That was very good. The undergraduate GPA, is that 3.3 or 3.4, Augustine?
But it's actually, it's more like a 3.3, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, in my school, it's out of 100, so it's 87 out of 100.
Yeah, and
translation I found was 3.3.
Could you tell us about Simon Kucher Partners, and do people normally like you leave that job to get an MBA?
There are some. It's not as in other consulting firms that it's like the required step per se. The firm doesn't require it per se to keep growing.
Do you know anyone at the firm who was like a year ahead of you and applied to business school?
No, I really don't. Since I'm from the Mexico City office, which is quite small.
Right. So if I'm a business school and I get this application and I see you're from Simon Kucher and Partners, I may not have been familiar with another applicant from there, right?
Yeah, it's possible, I think.
Okay, that's important because you then have to really go out of your way to explain to these places.
Okay.
What's going on. This is just general advice to people if you come from a kind of underrepresented company.
So you want to say it's a global consulting firm, the leader in pricing strategies, based in Germany with X number of employees, and clients include Microsoft, Google, that kind of
exactly.
that line.
Yeah, you did it good enough on your resume, and then let's remind everybody you've already applied to these schools and you've been waitlisted by MIT and Berkeley, so they got it. Okay. Yeah. So let's deal with your situation. We've got like a 3.3 and a 7.10, and those are below the stats of Berkeley and Sloan, which are 3.5, 7.24 for Sloan, and 3.6 and 7.17 for Berkeley. So the question becomes, what do you bring to the party to make up for the slight, the fact you're slightly below the stats?
Okay.
What did you bring to the party?
I think I could bring in international experience. I've studied abroad in Hong Kong. I was also working 6 months in Germany for an internship for a chemical company. During my consulting times, I've been working I have experience in the Mexican market, in Costa Rica, in Colombia. So I think I bring that international experience.
So let's remind the viewers, you've got a undergraduate degree from, forgive me for the
Americana. It's a well-known university in Mexico.
Americano, Mexico City. Is that a leading school in Mexico?
Yeah, it is a leading and well-known school in Mexico.
Good. Okay, so that's a good start.
Big deal.
And then for 3.5 years, you worked for Syntec Consulting.
Yes.
Which is a Latin American firm that does supply chain strategy.
Yeah, it's a Mexican firm. Has operations.
Good. Okay. Just let me roll through here. And then for the past year, right? You worked with Simon Kucher and Partners. So how come you changed jobs?
Well, one of the main reasons was because in Syntec, I was in this more of a strategic and pricing side of the company, but we weren't really doing pricing. So I found the opportunity. A colleague of mine from Syntec had left to was recruited in Simon Kucher at the Chile office in Santiago. And then when he knew that they were going to open the office.
Was this like a headhunter come and get you?
No, just a colleague. I was working with him. I had projects with him. He left. He was recruited by a headhunter. And then when he knew that the Mexico City office was opening, he reached out to me and invited me to be part of the team. So I became the first Mexican local employee in the Mexico City office.
So you could say you were recruited, in other words, more or less. Right?
Yeah.
And that's an important word to put in front of your job title. Recruited.
Okay. So did you change expertise?
I
at FinTech here on your resume, you say supply chain strategy, and then Simon Kucher is pricing. They're known for strategy.
So within Syntec, which is best known for its supply chain strategy, I was doing projects more focused on commercial strategy. Okay, so I wouldn't say that I changed changed so abruptly my area of expertise, but I would say that in Simon Kucher I have deepened it by a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Let's deal with the bottom line here. So we got this 33710. Man, John, how does he get off the wait list?
Well, listen.
And you're on the wait list at
MIT and Berkeley.
At MIT and Berkeley.
So,
have the schools given you any advice? Let me hold on. Have the schools told you to like beg, or have they just said stay home and get a letter?
Well, they both said you can send update letters, which I did. In MIT, since the program was with the LGO and was about to start in early June, I already got the decision, which was a no. So I'm thinking on reapplying for next year.
Okay. So really, you're on the wait list at Berkeley.
Berkeley, yeah.
And if you don't get in, you'll reapply next year.
Yes. That's
okay. So one thing here's what you need to do if you haven't done it already. You need to send Berkeley a letter. You need to tell them that they're your first choice. You need to tell them that you will definitely come if accepted. And it's okay with you if the courses are online.
Okay.
Now, here's why. Because you have an edge because you are considered an international applicant. And there's great fear that a lot of international applicants are not going to show up because of travel restrictions, student visa problems, and some people don't want to do a blended or online start, right? So there's going to be a shortage of international applicants. The fact you need to play up the Germany angle, the Latin American consulting that you've done, and you need to say you're going to go no matter what. If you
okay, but I'm not going to ask you if that's true, Agustin. But if you say that you're going to go if you're admitted and you're willing to start by taking courses offline, I agree with John. That's a very powerful thing to say. But don't say it if you're not going to do it.
Yeah, you gotta believe it, and totally. I'm not telling you to lie. I'm telling you, if that's the way you feel, you need to let them know, because then there's no downside risk on their yield. They'll understand, because you're an international applicant, that you'll add diversity to a class at a time when they're going to have trouble crafting the kind of class that they would normally be able to craft. And you don't really have time to take the GMAT again. Unless you tell them, hey, I've scheduled another shot at the GMAT. The 710 was not at a test center, right?
Yeah, it was at a test center.
Are test centers open again in Mexico yet or not?
No, right now they're not.
Exactly. You don't want to take the online GMAT, believe me. Don't do it.
Yeah, they told me it's terrible.
No way. It's awful. It's a disaster.
How come, John?
There's this crazy, first off, you can't take it with any pen and paper at your side, or
there's no notes.
You got to use a dumb whiteboard tool that doesn't work very well. And we just did a story. People are getting on planes and driving hundreds of miles to the few open test centers
Yeah, I've read it.
to avoid taking the online test. It's so bad. So I was going to say, one other thing that you could say in the letter is that you plan on retaking the GMAT if you think that will help me. Because after all, if you get a no, you want to retake the GMAT anyway to be a reapplicant and get a better score.
Okay. So if I were thinking on reapplying for next
Yeah, what you're thinking of reapplying, ask yourself what's going to be new.
Okay.
Something reapplicants don't understand. Like the ideal way to start a reapplicant essay is to say a lot has changed since I last applied.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
what would the answer be? And because you rejected me last year, so I realize things may be different on your end, but let me tell you what's different on my end, which is what you're really interested in.
Yeah. Okay.
What is going to be new? That's the question.
Well, it's not a fact yet, and I don't want to jinx it, but but I have a probable promotion on site.
All right, that's the best thing that can be new.
Yeah.
Are you going to be hiring people and managing them?
Well, I have managed them already, which I actually hadn't before. I sent my original application. Could be like part of the new story. And we were on the process of hiring new people for the office, but with all this pandemic,
Sure, of course,
exactly, they were stopped. And I don't know how that's going to roll out in the year.
Well, frankly, you got a lot.
Yeah, I think it's understandable.
You got a lot that's new because you've been in your new job by only a little over a year. And
true.
Effectively a startup in a new country where they're expanding and growing. And so I'm sure that over this next time before you reapply, there'll be progress that you have made that you can report to the school.
Yeah, but here's the way you say several things are new. I've increased my international experience. I've worked for X months in A, B, and C. I've managed people I've managed larger numbers of people. I've also gotten into a management position where I manage people who themselves manage people. I've also worked with different types of clients, and then you have to figure out some way to characterize that. So there's like 5 headings as to what's new. That's the way you write that essay.
Including helping your clients deal with the pandemic impact on their businesses.
I'll tell you, man, you'd be a wonderful classmate in terms of experience. I mean, you actually are a businessman. You're not some financier or McKinsey consultant. You've actually, man, you've got your hands
dirty.
Dirty and clean and mixed up. And you've actually worked in countries, you've done real stuff like leading work streams and road to market project, pricing portfolio optimization, opened a Mexico City office. Yeah, got a lot going for you in terms of the value you could add to a class, particularly a case method class. Don't you think, John?
Yeah, I think so too. So if you want to pursue the waitlist strategy, you should definitely contact them and say, hey, I really want to come. I will come if accepted, and online's okay. In addition to that, I'm willing to take the GMAT again to get a slightly better score for you, and hope that there's a test center that opens up. They may accept that even though they're accepting you as a 710, if they know they can report to US News at 730.
Yeah. Okay.
That might help them a little bit. Also, just the again, the persistence and the diligence to have to endure that additional torture may be impressive to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then look, and if they don't, then you just reapply. And if you reapply, should he take a broader strategy, Sandy? Should he toss an app at Harvard?
Good question.
If he gets a 730.
Yeah, you're man.
Right.
Yeah, Harvard's bigger, and they're more open to lower stats than the other places, marginally lower stats. And they will see what I saw, that man, in terms of a case method classroom, you've got a lot of different experiences.
Yeah, that you
I think it's worth trying. I think it's worth throwing money into Harvard.
Yeah. I mean, with a
Okay.
730, you think his chances are 25, 35?
At Harvard, yeah. I looked up the number of kids from
From Mexico.
Mexico. It's a lot.
Is it really?
Yeah, I forgot the number, but
Wow.
then I tried finding that information for the other schools, and it's a little more difficult to find.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
try finding out how many kids at Sloan are Mexican passport holders.
Okay.
Not going to find out unless you.
I don't think it's on the internet. You might,
Yeah.
Sloan would put you in touch with a Mexican student, and you could ask them.
Okay.
This is just a little finger wag at the other schools. It's easier to get information about HBS, Sloan, Stanford, and Berkeley.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but throw on into Harvard.
Okay.
That's great advice, John.
You know, because Harvard's going to accept more than 1,000 people a year to fill a
Okay.
class of 930 seats. And Stanford, much less because it's about half the size, right?
Yeah.
Chances
No,
are
Harvard's big, and they're more open. I wouldn't say big-hearted, but they're big and they're more flexible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you both.
We're
Well,
rooting for you.
what should he say? What should he write in his Harvard essay?
Good question. I think you should talk about the challenges of starting in a new market with an established company, but literally a startup at an incredibly difficult time when the economy is tanking and there's a pandemic-induced recession. What is it like?
Okay.
That's my sense of it.
Well, the prompt is, what else? We've already got all this blah, blah about you. What else do you want us to know?
Well, he could also talk about his experience, international experience, play up to Germany, the 6 months you spent in Germany or another
Yeah,
market.
but what's the rubric? What's the first sentence?
I'm an internationalist by heart.
I want you to know that my goal is to have a big impact in increasing trade and blah, blah in Mexico. Isn't that the answer, John?
I could be. I mean, what that tells me is that he wants to be a leader in his country, and that's what Harvard wants.
Yeah, I want to be it's the usual.
Impactful.
Yeah, I want to be an impactful leader in the X of the Mexican economy. I don't know if X is rebirth or continued expansion. What do you think it would be, Agustin?
Yeah, I'm because what I want to do is to focus into growing clean tech industry in Mexico, which currently with the government is not as easy as as it could be. But that's really what I want to focus in. So I think it's getting experience in
Yeah, but how would you describe the current Mexican economy? Is it booming or retarded or growing slowly or stagnant?
No, I think right now it's going a little bit backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to be an impactful leader in reviving the Mexican economy. That's the first sentence of a Harvard essay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through new and alternative energy sources.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
clean tech. Maybe that's your second sentence. Because in a way,
Right.
I mean, clean tech obviously is going to be one of the big growth opportunities in the world over the next quarter century.
Yeah. So then you say, I want to use my chemical engineering background from the University of Mexico as a foundation to become an impactful leader in reviving the Mexican economy. And this could mean 1, 2, or 3.
It's always got to be 1, 2, 3.
Well, you can laugh, but
No,
it
Sandy,
works.
you're right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The way to organize your thoughts and present them in the way that makes someone, lean forward in their seat.
Well, it's business school. It's not poetry school. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No free form here, okay? No stream of consciousness.
All right, all right.
You're
All
right. Hey, good
accomplished
luck to you, all right?
guy,
Thank you very
and
much.
Good luck getting off those
Thank
wait
you for your
lists.
advice.
Totally.
But yeah, when's the Harvard deadline? So
September
he's
8th,
missed for
round one,
round one. Yeah.
September 8th. There you
So
go.
that's a year for. So if you don't get off these wait lists, think about Harvard for next year.
I will. I'll put it in the mix.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Perfect.
All right, Sandy, thank you. And to all of
Thank
you,
you very much for your time.
Adios.
John
Good
Byrne,
luck.
poets and quants. Thanks for
Adios.
listening.